Talk UK Pro Bs joined by an all-star lineup. Wow, you know what? I had to get the jerk seasoning out. This is flaming hot. Flaming hot. Hey, Spencer Fearon in the building. Johnny Nelson, Dean Whyte, and Kurt Deville. Wow. Do you know what? I think it's fitting that we're all here because after all this time, Deontay Wilder has spoken up about what he's not happy about. Fury has been branded a cheat. Mark Breland has been branded disloyal. And we need to get right into it. Johnny, I know you ain't got long. We'll get into you first quickly. Spencer, Dean, and then Kurt. Far away, Johnny.
All right, listen, I'm just collecting my takeaway, so I'm hungry. Food's over this. So all this time when Deontay's not said anything since he's lost to Tyson, and little things are coming out for the reasons why he lost. Even though we've given a bit of stick, I've never really attributed them to him because I thought maybe it's his people around him that are saying it, and then he'll say I never said this foolishness. But then when I heard the interview, I couldn't believe it. I like Deontay, but each time he opened his mouth with this foolishness, you lose a little bit more respect for him because you're thinking, you know what, the things you're saying. Number one, Mark Breland, you know that's scandalous. Mark could sue his Clark. That's number one. That's scandalous. Unless he can prove that, Mark can sue his Clark. I bet he doesn't, but I bet solicitor tells him to because that's scandalous. Number two, when he's talking about the crab in the bucket referee, I know exactly what that term means. Buying out of order, accept your loss, accept your licks. Instead of making up excuses for why this happened, why that happened. Remember, you boxed this man twice. The first time you boxed 60% Tyson Fury, and he still you still got a draw, which I think he won. The second one, he give you a beating. So when you're talking about the gloves and how it was in the gloves, I know Tyson Fury, I know for a fact you cannot make a fist in the wrist of the glove. How it's taped up, how it's tied up, no matter how much you pull it. So unless Tyson gave him a bitch slap that cranked him up because his hand was open, there's no way you can make a fist in that little part. You can't do it. It's impossible. You should know when your hands get taped up, then signed, that means you got to pull it out somehow. So it's frustrating because he's making himself look foolish. And I'll tell you this one thing. Do not be surprised if that's him done. That's him done. I'm telling you now, do not be surprised if you do not see Deontay Wilder in the ring again. No matter how much he threatens to, no matter what he says, do not be surprised.
Wow. Spencer, I know you've been very passionate about the subject, in particular Mark Breland. Hey, it's your turn, man. Bars upon bars, man. The knowledge. Let's go, baby.
Number one, big up Johnny Nelson. First time that we've ever done any chat since it's been a little while. So big up Johnny. Johnny gets a lot of stick. So I have to say I've got to big up Johnny Nelson. He does a lot for his community, which people don't know about, but I'm just talking about it. So big up Johnny Nelson. Dean Whyte's my brother from another mother from the longest time. You know what I mean? So for salute top Dean. Big up Kurt. Yeah, man, Pro Bs, keep on doing your thing. I'm going to keep this really short and simple. Number one, Deontay Wilder's rant the other day, it was like he thought he was on a pulpit. I thought it was very corny that he had music in the background as well. I think Deontay Wilder's been listening to too much Reverend Ike. You know what I mean? That's what I think that who he's listening to. So he's listening to too much of that. It says in scripture in the book of Joel that let the weak say that I'm strong. So maybe he's trying to adapt that because you got to ask him. Now, if you were a real man, would say, listen, I got beaten by the better man and take it as it is. Now, he's saying that Tyson has some weighted egg in his glove. So did he have it in both hands? I just want to know, did he have it in both hands? Because, what was it? Round 5, Deontay Wilder got hit with a body shot and got knocked over. So which glove did he have it in? Because, what was it? It was the right eardrum that was busted where he said he had the dent, yeah? Mm-hmm. But it was the left hook that floored him to the body. So make up your mind how it goes, because the crap in the bucket scenario when he's speaking about the referee, that within itself is disgusting. You know what I mean? Because we know what he's talking about as men of color. We know what he's talking about. So even all of these kind of picking thoughts. And unfortunately, we have old media and we have new media. The old media really ain't got a clue. The new media now that's coming out, like guys like you, Pro Bs, like guys like you, Kurt. In America, especially, there was a big, massive racial divide. And it's bullshit, because hold your hands up and say you got beat by the better man and you're going to come back bigger and better. But you haven't done that. You pulled out, you made more excuses than a crypt being on death row. It's disgraceful. And that's the truth. You take it, you know what I mean? Take it as it is. I got beat by the better man. Know you have fundamental flaws, because what's happened to Deontay Wilder is he realized that he can punch. And as he realized that he can punch, he followed all the gas men. And you know, gas men ain't no good no more. So all these guys are gassing him. All these bloggers and everything. And I'm seeing all these guys, and they're gassing Deontay Wilder. So the man's deluded, but then he's got another set of deluded people that are hyping him up. So he's going to believe the nonsense. Deontay Wilder got fundamentally outboxed the first time. Then he got fundamentally and categorically beaten up the second time. Take the beating as a man.
All right, Dean. Now you've had a chance to, hear the news and kind of give your thoughts on the events of the weekend. Deontay Wilder breaking his silence. I mean, you was in Vegas that night with myself, and what have you made of Deontay Wilder's comments?
You know what? It's just echoing the same as these lot. Listen, he lost. He lost fair and square. First and foremost, the draw. When you get a home draw in the first place, is 9 times out of 10 that you've been given a bit of a leeway, because they know you've lost, but you're a hometown fighter and they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That's the first thing. So we knew he lost anyway in the first fight. The second fight, if we go back, I've said it before, and Dillian mentioned it a lot of the times, he cannot fight on the back foot. Fury in the first fight was on the back foot a lot. So in that fight, it was a lot harder. In the second fight, he made an adjustment and was on the front foot all the way. If you saw how he pressed the action, and he just kept firing and sticking it on him. He cannot box on the back foot. He couldn't release that dynamite in his right hand because he was all on the back foot. The power just weren't there. But he lost fair and square. All this talk about gloves, things in your hand, I'm not too sure. Listen, nothing's impossible. That's what I will say. But what I would say is, dealing with the British Boxing Board of Control and dealing with gloves over the years is very unlikely. Listen, one time I picked up the gloves and Robert Smith was on me. I was kind of bending them and checking them and looking inside. And he was like, hey, don't tamper with the gloves. Don't do that. And I was saying, I'm just checking, man. No, don't check. Don't bend and prod and poke. We don't want you to damage the glove. You know that? So I know how they go on. And then when you're in the dressing room, there's a steward in there that bloody follows you everywhere you go. They sign your hand like Spence was saying, and they kind of check your wraps. Even if you go to the toilet, they want to check them again. And for Deontay Wilder's safe drink was spiked. If you had a urine sample, it would show there's a tainted sample for whatever it was. Even if it weren't perform enhancing, it would be something that would hinder your maybe make you lethargic, make you sluggish, and that would have come out by now, because I'm sure at this level, when you've got these kind of fights, everyone gets tested. You know what I mean? I don't know if it was Barder or whatever, Wilder, whoever is in that. So stuff like that are easy to disprove and prove, him talking. And I just feel like it's a bit of a slap in the face to someone like Mark Breland, because, the man saved your life, really. You was getting pummeled, poleaxed, battered from pillar to post, and he was the only one in that corner who had any actual boxing experience. When you're talking about experience, I mean, actually had a fight, who I think he was an Olympian, or did he win gold or something like that? He done a lot, was a former world champion. He's done a lot of stuff. He was actually a boxing man. So he understood what it was like being in there, under the cosh, getting lick in your mouth, and he's saying, listen, I'm going to do the right thing. I'll pull my fighter out and save you for another day. But in this instant, he hasn't taken it like that, Deontay Wilder. He's now used this as one of like a horse, and jumped on his back and said, let me ride this little pony here, and use that excuse, use my heavy costume, use the tampering with the gloves, and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He just needs to grow a pair of balls and say, listen, can we do it again? You're the better man. Let me just run it back, and I'm going to try and get back what's mine, and that's it.
All right. Kurt, we're going to get to you, man. We're going to get to you. Spencer, I felt like you had to finish off, man. Let me just get the Jet season out once more, man. All right, Spencer.
Listen, period. How many excuses has Deontay Wilder made after this fight? How many? You can't even count. You lose count. Yeah, right. 6. Now I know the ones like the costume was too much. They way too much. The costume, right? The gloves, the water being spiked. Maybe it was like some special kind of water that the tests don't come out to about, what's the fight? The fight's been, 8 months now? So maybe Mark Breland filled that water with bullshit and it's coming out now because that's what we're hearing. It's disgraceful. So maybe it's that. So we've heard so many different excuses and I can understand, like I said, when people gas you up, it's difficult. Like you want to buy into the gas, you bought into the gas. And remember, Deontay Wilder is a wealthy man. Everyone else around Deontay Wilder is broke, you know. Dean, you know this. So you know it was when we were on road. When one man's the hot man on the road, you've earned all the P's. Everyone else would gas you up because they wanna be in your position, but they ain't got what you got to get in the position because they ain't got the plug. Deontay Wilder's plug is that big right hand of his. Simple as that. But when we look at it, he ain't got no plug no more. You know what I mean? So he's in denial. And also, like I said, these gas boys in America, man, they make me sick. I want real man around me. If you want real soldiers around you, Deontay Wilder ain't got no real soldiers around him. He ain't got no one that can pull him up and correct him if he's doing. He's got a bag of yes man around him. Hence why he can perpetuate and spew this nonsense. It's offensive to boxing. You know what I mean? It's offensive. It's offensive how he's behaving. And trust me, Mark Breland should sue, brother. As simple as that. Come with your facts. Right now, you're just coming out, so you're picking out some things like, remember, the storyteller? Remember that thing? I'm a storyteller, and my story is my future. Oh, do. Come on, man. Come on. Spare me all of this nonsense, man. And it's not how they're going to be looking at like we're trying to pull down Deontay Wilder. It's because I'm hearing offensive nonsense. I'm a purist of this sport. Historically, I love this sport. What Deontay Wilder's coming out with, I ain't heard excuses like that. In the heavyweight division from a heavyweight champion? Come on, man. Fix up, brother.
All right. Kurt. All right. We're going to have to sprinkle some more for Kurt, man. Kurt.
Well, let me counterpunch, guys.
Spit the game, man.
I feel that I thought, like the knowledge, I thought that he was staying quiet because he just wanted to show and redeem himself in the ring despite what other people were saying about him, the rumors that was going on, and I was highly disappointed when he did in fact come out. But he let shit out. What happened when he decided to deal with Tyson Fury again instead of going for the I could have took a better fight with Anthony Joshua. What, now you tell us? Now you're letting everything out. You thought you had a dancing partner for the rest of your life and you found out you did not. Tyson Fury used you to be where you was at because he knew that he was better than you. And in the grand scheme of things, he was. He played him. He made him think. He jumped on that Anthony bashing bandwagon, didn't he? Think about it. When those negotiations supposedly failed in 2018, and these guys decided to fight, when they made that fight together, they were both on the same level of Joshua the chicken, but at the same time, you guys were using Joshua didn't fight you guys. It was okay when they were in the same agreements. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, but obviously it's not at the same token. So now we have Tyson Fury fighting Anthony Joshua, the quote unquote chicken. And now he let out of the bag, hey, you know what? They did offer me more money than they ever did you. And I regret now taking this route with you. So we all know that's bullshit about all the excuses. Here's the truth. The truth is they don't know. I would respect Deontay Wilder for saying, you know what, something was wrong that night. I just don't know what it was or something. But to say all this, that, and the other, I think he used a lot of other people's beliefs and other shit to create his own thing. And he said, you know what, I'm just going to use it all. But when you do that, you show you have no particular one thing that you was the specific reason why you lost. Was it your gloves? Was it the water? Was it the costume? Was it your coach? That's too many things for you to really know, to pinpoint on what really happened that night with you. The truth is you got beat. He had a different game plan. You came in 10 pounds heavy. You're not used to that weight. You're a tall, lanky fellow. So a guy that could actually stand to the test with Deontay Wilder, stand that right hand, he still got up. But this time, Fury started to, he decided to take it with him. And when he took it with him, that was all she wrote. So guess what? That's all it is. All that other shit with Mark Breland is disgusting, how they throw that man under the bus for his loss. It's no different than Andy Ruiz, honestly. Think about what Andy did. At least Andy said it was my fault at first, but then he went back and fired Manny Robles. But Deontay Wilder's far worse. Why? Because Deontay Wilder, you know what? It ain't my fault, and and it's Mark Breland's fault, and I blame Mark Breland for everything. I'm just not going to say anything till much, much later. Which for that reason, I still don't understand. But I just don't. I don't believe it. I think Mark Breland deserves an apology, and if he decides to sue, he has a lawsuit coming, and that's my counter.
Wow, Kurt, you just coming like LL Cool J in a 4-3-2-1 tune with Cannabis and DMX. All right. Spencer, question to you. Why has all these accusations come out at this time? I mean, the fight was 8 months ago.
It's quite obvious why it is, because Tyson Fury has now moved on to newer green pastures. And he's thinking, oh man, well, now I've lost the fight because you've actually lost the right to fight for the title. I think he had X amount of times in stipulated contract that was put out for him to sign the contract, and he never signed the contract. So therefore they said, okay, we're gone. And now I've listened to Deontay Wilder saying he didn't know nothing about it. So then if that's the case, then it's Shelley Finkel's fault and it's Al Haymon's fault, right? But whatever it is like, oh, well, we got to get people talking about you now. So come out with this crazy shit. So you come out with this crazy shit. It doesn't matter, because really and truly, it's fooled on definite ears, but it's also fooled on the fact that the fool is the fool. We're looking at you like you're an idiot now. And that's hurtful, because I think like he's taken so long to build himself up, so long to kind of make out that he would, he's the hardest punching heavyweight of all time. He's a devastating puncher. He's this, cool. I hear all of that, but the man lacks fundamentals. Now I'd have to go back way back to when Primo Carnero was the heavyweight champion of the world to see technically a worse heavyweight than him. That's the truth. Technically, let's go through history. Deontay Wilder's up there with one of the worst. When we talk about technicality, people turn around and say, well, Rocky Marciano didn't have no great technique. But Rocky Marciano, who we thought had a terrible technique, remember Muhammad Ali famously say Rocky Marciano weren't great. He just beat old great men, right? Rocky Marciano is, technically a better fighter than Deontay Wilder. Go check it. How he stood, how he maneuvered guys. You know what I mean? You go think. To Rocky Marciano's last.
What about Valuev?
Who?
What about Valuev? You think
he's still technically better? Valuev is better. Valuev is technically better than Deontay Wilder. I'm telling you that now. At least Valuev could double jab right hand, and it looked proper. It didn't look gangly. It didn't look wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Come on. Seriously. I'm telling you now, Deontay Wilder technically is the worst heavyweight since Primo Carnero. I've said it. Now, you young kids, you're going to listen to this, go check who Primo Carnero is. You know what I mean? And go learn history. You know what I mean? And see what Max Baer done to Primo Carnero. You know what I mean? As my mom said, right? So I'm just being real. You can't listen. You've held a title that has mad lineage to it, where great men have held that WBC crown. Great men like Larry Holmes, great men like Muhammad Ali, great men like Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, go through the list, great men. All of those men technically were far more superior than you'd ever be. Matter of fact, I was just watching an interview with Larry Holmes now, and Larry Holmes is getting up in age now, so he must be touching nearly 70 now, right? If Larry Holmes was to cut a bunion from his toenail, that would have more skill than the whole of Deontay Wilder.
Wow.
And that's that. I don't business. I don't business. I'm banning them, man, because
that's
you
too
fight
much for the chicken, man. That's too much.
No. You fight now Mark Breland for saving your life. You're saying about you, well, I want a guy on my shield. You know what I mean? You know me, I want to fight with every last breath. That's cool. You know what I mean? But if Tyson Fury has something in his hand, then you should be commending Mark Breland even more. You know what I mean? And this jumping on Kenny Bayless. You know what I mean? Kenny Bayless is a good referee. If Kenny Bayless was so much on Tyson Fury's side, why did he take a point away from Tyson Fury when Tyson Fury used his forearm on him? If that was the case, come on, man, it's ridiculous, man.
Kenny Bayless is good though, still. It's fair as well.
Good referee, man. Good referee. I tell you, I remember Kenny Bayless when he used to work for the Nevada State Commission, and you'd see Kenny Bayless walking in. He wouldn't have his suit on, walking in. What was that? Was that April 15th, 1985? Walking in and being in the corners when Marvin Hagler versus Tommy Hearns. Kenny Bayless is being foundation. So for you to come out and say those accusations right now, it's very, very redundant. You got, like I said, different form of high grade just smoking, bro.
All right, Dean. Just before we conclude, a lot of people out there are saying that the cat was let out of the bag.
No, but they said it was. So I wouldn't have thought that they would have lied about making an offer to Deontay Wilder anyway. So not like I said, it wasn't surprising that he's come out and said it. And I don't even think he's intentionally wanted to reveal the information. He was saying it as to prove a point. Oh, I gave you the olive branch. That's what he was saying to Tyson Fury. When you was down, when you was out, I gave you the olive branch. I gave you the chance to fight for the titles. And then you was basically meant to do the same and give me a help and a buck up. And you didn't. And he feels like he's probably been let down from him. But to be honest, I don't know if a lot of people wanted to see the trilogy anyway. You got soundly beaten on 2 occasions, and you got the rub of the green in the draw, which was a real hometown decision. And then you got absolutely poleaxed in the second fight, busted up. You got dropped by a body shot. And Tyson Fury is not even known as a body puncher. So, it just shows, you know what I mean? And Dylan said from a long time, these bullies, when they're being bullied and pushed back, you will see the true testament of the character of the fighter. And he said, Deontay Wilder on the back foot, probably, no one hasn't done that to him before. So it just showed anyway. When it was done, Tyson Fury went and done it, commended to him. And Deontay Wilder, listen, he just needs to forget all this and get back on the horse, man, and try and get a fight and try and get himself back in the mix. There's big money on the line. All this hocus pocus, he just needs to forget it. But he needs to forget all this talking nonsense about what this and what that. He's getting back. I thought, you know what? I honestly thought all this quietness in him, he was going to come out and just be working on technique and say, I'm going to come and give it my all. I want my belt back. I'm going to smoke that guy. And he was going to come out and show us something different. He actually just showed us he's more of a damn fool than we thought he was.
Wow. Kurt, it's up to you, man. It's up to you to finish this, man.
Well, I agree with Dane. Came out with that.
Kurt, we're losing you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. No, but I agree with Dane. I don't think he intentionally came out with that Joshua information. I think he was just trying to prove a point to Tyson Fury as a venting source because, he's disappointed in Tyson Fury again. But all this around him, distraction, that's all it is. If he has any intention of getting back into the sport of boxing, seriously, without all the bullshit, he should forget about all this stuff. He made the wrong decision. He decided to get with Tyson instead of Joshua. of Shelly Finkel, because you know Shelly Finkel can't stand Eddie Hearn, therefore he can't stand Eddie Hearn. You know how that goes. You know, if you have a father and your father don't like this guy and then he dies, then you don't like that guy because that's your father. You're taking on the tradition of people that you don't like. That's what Deontay Wilder was doing. It's deeper than what people think. I don't think he wanted to fight Joshua because he couldn't stand the side of Joshua. He couldn't stand Eddie Hearn and all this other stuff that it's been fabricated against Eddie Hearn. He's really not that bad of a dude. But at the end of the day, if you work for a guy that's Shelly, like Shelly has worked for Deontay Wilder, he confides in Shelly. So Shelly's intention was to shut Matchroom down. He said it himself. So it's a lot different than Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is just a pawn in this game of networks and promotional companies. So this is what you have. So he made the wrong decision, get with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury showed him, he's always showed him who he really was. Tyson Fury hasn't shown anything. He showed you he does what he wants to do. Whatever Tyson Fury wants to do, he's going to do it any given Sunday. That's it. And he decided to move on. You know what? This is a wrap. Oh, you know what? The contract, you guys waited too long. And it's all, you see, you guys heard the Steve Bunce interview. He already said, he told Shelly Finkel, get me a venue. And that was 6 weeks before all this crap happened. Okay. So this is what we have. He waited too long and Shelly failed him as a manager because he thought that he had it in the bag and he didn't. And Wilder was going to sit back and not say something intentionally. He failed him. That's why he's coming forth with all the information as weapons, he thinks. But these weapons are not weapons at all. They're just distractions. Because when he's busy talking about this, that, and the other, the only people that should be fighting for him at this point are lawyers, not anybody else. He should work on fighting other opponents. Forget about Tyson Fury for now and fight someone else tough. Fight Dillian Whyte. Fight your brother Dean. Fight someone that gives you credibility. Stop waddling in the same shit that you've done. That's all he's ever done in the last 2 years. Let me fight Fury again. Why are you fighting Fury? I thought you knocked Fury out in your eyes. Let me fight Ortiz again. Why are you fighting Ortiz again? Fight someone else. But I think he's wanting to fight these particular guys because these guys, like I said, the devil that you know is better than the devil you don't. So he figured, as long as I'm going to fight these same guys again, there's a good chance that I'll win because I did pretty good the first time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Deontay, it's become his prison at the end of the day. It's becoming a prison for him, all this shit around him, all the so-called Wilder supporters. They're making this shit bigger than what it really is, but it's only being shown on their platforms. But in the grand scheme of things, he needs to get back on the saddle and ride that damn horse. Let's do it. Let's fight other people.
Wow. There you have it. The Jerk Seasoning debate. Kurt Deville, Dean Whyte, Spencer Fearon, and a big shout out to Johnny Nelson also. Wow. Guys, it's been a pleasure, man. Likewise. Make sure you subscribe, man. Salute.